Any kind of question you want to ask me about boundaries, anything that is coming to mind with regards to clients and them not respecting boundaries and how are we handling that, those kind of things. So, but my name is Dawn Brolin. I'm a CPA out of Windham, Connecticut. I am been in business for 26 years. I think I'm back. Okay, can you see and hear? Okay, you can hear me, but now you can see. Okay, sorry, a little technical foul there, Marnie. Hi, Marnie. Oh, so many great names in this in the chat. I see you. I'm back. Thank you. If I'll keep refreshing if I have issues. I don't know. Who the heck knows? But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Like I was saying, I've been in business for 26 years. I've had clients walk all over me. I've had staff walk all over me. I've had all these things, and it took me so long to realize how important boundaries are. And sometimes a boundary, the way I think about a boundary, is kind of just a rule. I think that we, a lot of times, find ourselves where um, bookkeeping doormats. You got it, Marnie. Like we just get pounded, if you will, by the way these people handle things. So over a lot of time, I've learned that boundaries and rules, the what I'll call the rule, not the exception. We live in these exceptions. We think about, well, we set this as a rule, but then we focus on what an exception might be. And so instead of making the rule for the standard for what we'll say the majority, either rules around how clients communicate with you, rules and boundaries around when you work, how you work, and those kind of things. So I think that we have for sure, yeah, red rope policy. There's Cindy Schrader. I think of her all the time. I thought of her last week. I was in Florida. So I was thinking of Cindy in Disney and things like that and how expensive the pins are. Talk about boundaries is spending at Disney, Cindy. I don't know how you do it, girl. Right? And I went there and I hope Emily's not listening because I bought some presents for her. Hi, Mary. Mary, my girl. International tax. She's your girl, folks. Mary Milner. Um, and so I went to the Disney store at Disney Springs while I was there to get a couple, little Christmas gifts for Emily. And I should have brought them with me, but there were 3 little mystery pin bags, just 3 little, they're little, and then one 25th anniversary pin that she probably already has, to be honest, $162. I need to set boundaries on my spending when it comes to those kind of things. So Cindy, you're killing it, kid. So Stacy has some trouble setting boundaries, and I get it, right? So boundaries can be really tough. I think for us, we need to do a better job. Hi, Catherine, of setting those boundaries. I'm going to give you some examples, but I would really want to hear from you to ask me questions, right? Aaron's got to go. Now, this is really just in the chat. So I think I'll just work off the chat for now until I see anybody putting anything in the Q&A. So Aaron, this is great. Oh, we do have a Q&A. Here we go. So, okay, let's see. So Aaron, I'm going to stick with you first. Current client, big cleanup, gave me a box of receipts. I priced him on $2,000 per quarter of 24, which makes, however, very quickly I ended up going to the bank with him in person, going to tax and revenue with him in person, hours of Zoom calls, emails, and text. So Aaron, I totally get that. Like you think you can do the cleanup and then it turns into other things. And that's where the scope creep happens. So that's why our engagement letters are so super important. We need to define and clearly define. I don't care, people, if you're doing sales tax returns, you're doing bookkeeping, you're doing tax, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing in this profession should have an engagement letter that spells out the scope. Now we can't spell out everything. Don't get so hung up on that. It can't be just the fact that we're outlining everything I'm going to reconcile bank account 04257. I'm going to reconcile. It doesn't need to be that. It's reconciling bank accounts, credit cards, whatever, but clearly defining that so that when it's like, oh, now I got to go with you to the bank. Now, now this scope has changed now. the boundary has been met. We've done the job we said we would do for the 2000 a quarter, which was clean up the books. But now it turns into now we got to go to deal with the tax side of it. Now we need to go deal with the bank, et cetera, et cetera. And that's when the scope creep, because you have a clearly defined engagement, it's you're like, whoa, like we're gonna need another $2,500 or whatever it may be to do the rest of this stuff. So that's where the boundaries, I believe an engagement letter is a great opportunity for you to set those boundaries when it comes to the scope of the work that you're doing for your clients, right? So Sydney, this great question. I love this. How do I handle clients that started when I did not have boundaries? How do you suggest to retrain? And that's such a good question. I think what has to happen, and whether you're a sole practitioner, if you're just yourself, that's a little bit easier because it's just you. Like you're the one violating the boundaries, or you've allowed them to violate those boundaries for so long. Now you've got to kind of backtrack and say, hey, we got to set some boundaries here. So we've had to do that, and including your team. So we have now a team of, well, some part-times, but I'm going to say we have a team of 5. We'll just stick with a team of 5. So with that team, I need them to be on the same page with me. So this is important if you have staff. The boundary you set with regards to, let's just say, let's start with text at night. That's a simple one. Texting at night. So we had that had happened with us for a long, long time. When we started using Liscio, we were using that for the texting, which allowed us to decide when we would answer them or not. And we would have them have that app on our phone, but no alerts would be on it. So if I was just sitting around doing nothing, I could click on it and go in. So what we had to do is we had to say to them, listen, and I do this on an annual basis when we try to improve our boundaries every year. So Cindy is a great example. If you do engagements letters, let's just say having a video that goes with the engagement letter or sending out a Loom video with an email. I don't care how you do it. And saying, hey, listen, so we're really working on our business. We're really working hard at making sure we're delivering great product, great service to you as let's say the business owner. Let's go with the business owner. But I have to let you know the way that we work and the way we're making some changes to communications is we're using Liscio for communicating. We're using Financial Sense when we have QuickBooks questions, when we have QuickBooks Online transaction questions. They're always going to come from Financial Sense. Explaining the tools that you're going to use to replace texting me at night. And so I will tell them, listen, part of our new model is okay, at 5 p.m. Eastern time, that's when we stop work. If you're on the Pacific Coast, we understand that there may be an exception that we may make, but it's the rule, the boundary that we have to establish. And we don't tell them with exception. We don't tell them that. But you can have a one-on-one conversation with a client out in, say, California or whatever. Say, hey, listen, that I know that that's my boundary, but understanding I'm going to let you can text me till 8 o'clock because that's your end of day typically or whatever. So you've got to set the boundary first before you start making exceptions. And I think that that's something for me. I had to retrain the client. So I had to over and over, if they would text me at night, I would not answer them. The next day, I would answer them and I would say, hey, just remember, just a reminder, I'm not going to answer your text after 5 Eastern time. I'm not doing it. That's one way to handle it. Another way to handle it is get a service, some kind of a service. There's some Slack add-ons, for example, where they're texting a number, but it's coming right into your Slack that everyone can see. That's another really good method that we've started with some other things. So again, that's just another really good way to retrain people. But you have to stay consistent, folks. Hardest part, right? So setting boundaries on client onboarding is a really important one. So I'm a great violator of rules. Most of you know that about me, not on purpose, not on, of course, of an ethical nature, but you know. So another great one is with regards to having those communications and having a text come in where all the clients can see it. And those are the improvements we make on a regular basis here to make our lives a little bit better. Okay, so I think it's Anna, I think is your name. So how do you set new boundaries with clients who come to you with last minute hair on fire situations? Oh God, I love this question. Essentially making their problem your problem. If you've helped in the past, how do you set boundaries now? Great question. And that does happen. Hair on fire situations come up. A couple of things I want to note about that. We started relationship pricing, and that is a boundary for us. If you're a business owner, you want to work with us, you have to be on a monthly subscription. We no longer accept clients. This is a boundary for us. We'll say to them, "Hey, listen, we don't do that." The reason why we only do subscription pricing for businesses is because of this exact question. I felt like all we were doing was putting fires out because it was people we weren't necessarily working with year round. They were the majority of our clients who were just coming to us when there was a problem. And we really turned that around. But fires still happen. So when a fire comes in and it's something I'll drop everything and help you, there's a cost for that. There's I'll call it an opportunity cost, right? For the fact that you need me to come and bail you out of something because it was your emergency, now it's mine. Number 1, at this point, maybe I don't have capacity. You know what? I know we bailed you out last time. I just don't have the capacity. Or you may say, you know what? I had one. I had an S corp that I had said, you're not doing relationship pricing. I don't want to. I don't want to work with you anymore. And he came to me October 13th. He hadn't filed his S corp and hadn't filed his personal return, and he was freaking out. And I was like, David, this is why we talked about this last year. Like, you need to work with us year round, etc. Right. So that's what we were kind of up against. And I didn't have really much to do, to be honest. I was kind of we really got our stuff streamlined in our workflow. We're always improving, but we're really getting there. So I was like, you know what? It's your fire, David. This probably should have cost you $3,500, but I'm charging you 9. And he was like, done, do it. Because I'm like, if I'm going to take your hair on fire project, you better be darn pretty right that I'm going to make a good amount of money on that. If I'm going to, I know I got to work a little extra. I know I've got to, probably skip a couple things I like to do because I'm going to make you a priority, but you're going to pay for it. So that's one way that for me, the boundary is really your boundary. So what if you've helped to bail them out in the past? That doesn't put you on the hook to bail them out again. So that's you got to get to that point. You'll get to that point where you have that confidence of, you know what? I don't need this work. And you know what? Honestly, I'm pretty happy. I'm good with just doing what I'm doing. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Um, Aaron, so I see you. So you said about the $2,000 a quarter, and that's your estimate. Great. It's an estimate. That's perfect. And you sent him a new invoice. He has not paid it. So just some recommendations in the future. You did that work, you got paid for the 8 grand, it was an estimate for the bookkeeping and the cleanup, and then this other stuff happened. What we do when there's scope creep is when we see, "Oh, you need me to start doing some tax consulting or tax whatever you had to do for them." That's where we stop. That's where I have gotten really good at that boundary of stop. Okay, either jump on the phone. Most of the time, I don't do that. I tell Tracy, "Hey, listen, call this guy, tell him we did all your cleanup. It was an estimate, it was within scope. I think we're fine with the bookkeeping, all the work we did there. We got you all set up. Now you want us to go help with tax, go to the bank, do these things." And even if you're in the middle of the bookkeeping project, they want you to do that. It's a stop. And now it's either a new engagement letter because now the scope of what you were doing before was bookkeeping. Now you may be doing tax, different engagement letter. So that's where I would stop the work and say, "Hey, this is where we're at, but this is additional work outside of scope." And he has not paid it because you didn't stop. And so that's just my recommendation. That's what I've been doing is I just stop. Uh, I did this much work. You know what? I'll give you back 3 grand because I only did $5,000 worth of work or whatever, however you feel about it. And maybe you need to find somebody else, but this is way outside the scope of what we discussed in the beginning. So hopefully that helps as well. Um, okay, so Jackie, great question. If you have a client that after working with them for a year, you feel might need a revamped scope outline done, how do you approach that conversation? Great, Jackie. So, couple of suggestions. Number 1, always after a year, it's always good to revisit a contract. It's always good to revisit, "Hey, you've been paying me $1,500 a month. Over time, you've added 5 more bank accounts, 2 credit cards, you hired 6 people. Like, this has gotten a little bit bigger than what we had expected. So now with the new contract, we're going to have to revise it and add some more services, whatever that may be." That's one approach, right? The second approach is I'm changing my business model. And with my business model for all these additional things we have to do, XYZ. So if it's not something where the client has added 5 bank accounts and 2 credit cards and hired 6 people. They're just a client that you've had for a year and you're like, I think there's more things we need to do. It's worth that phone call if you're going to make an extra 5 grand or 6 grand a year or whatever, however you're playing this out. So for me, it's definitely a conversation. If they're a good client, you like working with them. Those are my 2 like those are you nice? It's boundary. Are you nice? If you're not nice, we don't want you. Are you always having emergencies? If so, a couple things need to happen. You're going to pay a lot more, whatever the case may be. But really, at the end of the day, again, just setting that boundary of this is, I know we used to do it this way. We're changing the way we do things. We need to revisit your engagement and off you go with there. So it's really to me a conversation. So Shannon, great. What? Oh, hi, Shannon. How are you, buddy? I saw your picture, so I know who you are because I can't read your whole name there. But what to do when clients ignore all the guards you have in place? Sometimes firing them isn't enough. So I probably need a little bit more info on a little bit more from that. What do you do when clients ignore all the guards you have in place? So that happens. They're just like, no, I want to do it this way. That's for me. Um, if they're existing clients, we have to have a conversation. Like, listen, we can't this isn't going to work long term. And we like you. We like working with you. You're a great person, but we're asking you to do things in a certain way. I will take the time to get on a phone call. Sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with me. Sometimes it has to do with Nicole, and they're not getting back to her on either statements or whatever transaction questions, whatever it may be. And I'll be like, okay, time for a meeting. And they know when it's time for the meeting that they're violating those guards because I don't mess around. So, they know when they're getting an email or a call from Dawn Brolin that they're, something's up. Unless it's obviously we have a regular cadence, but sometimes we have those issues. So for me, if they're just not following them and you're not willing to accept the exception of this client passing by all those guards, then that's a whole nother thing. So hopefully that helps. Do you integrate anything in your engagement letters to help with client management? Deadlines for getting us information. Oh, Kaylee, great question. Yes. Deadlines for getting us information or surrounding or when payments need to be made, things like that. Yes. So I use Ignition. I think everybody knows I use Ignition for my proposals and my engagement letters. So with that, I do a video every year and my happy to share my video. I'll do another one here coming up in January where I outline here's the deal. This is your price for your proposal through the end of January. After January, their price is going to go up. I need to know who's in line. I'm just very straightforward with my clients. I need to know who's in. I need to know who's out. I need to know, can I take on more clients? Can I not take on more clients? So that'll help us set the deadlines and say to them, if you don't get us your documents by this date, you're going to go on extension. Extensions that are your fault, $500, because I'm prepared to work as much as I need to not have extensions because I don't want them, right? Obviously, K1s, we get that. So for us, that's how we handle the engagement letter process. And obviously, in the engagement letter has deadlines. It spells out when you have to give us stuff, but I also do the video because you know what? Nobody reads that engagement letter. They're just like, oh, let me just sign. I also have a boundary of making people prepay. I don't mess with that. They prepay me for the entire return. I know the exceptions. Remember, somebody's already right now. I can see you through the screen, sort of, who are saying, well, what if the tax change? What if the tax return, there's more stuff and you only charged them $1,500? Well, as soon as I see there's more stuff, we stop. Tracy calls them. You bought a rental property you didn't tell us about. You uploaded the HUD. Where's the income and the expenses? That's another $1,000 for me to do the first year because it's a lot more work, and so on and so forth. So we utilize the engagement letters. We utilize the video. We utilize just spelling out what the expectations are. What tools are we using this year? We may have changed. And so those are some of the things and how we do it. All right. So Maria, great question. I have a client who I have a solid engagement letter in scope for both financial and bookkeeping. But my question is, he also wants to add personal bookkeeping. How to handle that? What do I need to ask or no? Great question. So he wants you to do personal bookkeeping. Awesome. For me, that is definitely a separate engagement, right? So what I would say to, certainly just I need to know all your accounts. I need you to set, however you onboard your clients normally for bookkeeping, you're going to onboard this person for their individual stuff the same way. List out your bank accounts, list out your credit cards, list out blah, blah, blah. And then once you have an idea of that, Venmos and Cash Apps and all the, like, how big do they want to go? They want a true P&L and balance sheet. And if they're high net worth, they should have one. They should know where they stand financially and have all of their accounting put together, their investment accounts and all of that stuff. That's definitely a separate engagement. Once you know how many accounts there are, you probably want to get statements for 2-3 months and be able to look to see what kind of transaction volume we have. And then off you go from there. So I would definitely a totally separate engagement for that. And that's how I would probably handle it. Marnie, love Marnie. We have a tech stack of QBO, Dext, Pluto. Since we're the ones who suggested these apps, I think there's an expectation from some clients that we train anyone going on said apps, which is impossible. That is correct. So what we do with our tech stack, and that's great. So whatever tech stack you're using, it doesn't matter. For us, how we handle it, Marnie, is I have Tracy on my staff. And Tracy's a part-time virtual assistant. She's an executive assistant. She handles all kinds of stuff. She's phenomenal. And I say, hey, Tracy, so we got new clients coming on, and our workflow is like, this is how they onboard. Our client onboarding is like mint. So we'll say to them, the first experience they get with us is Smart Vault, because typically they're coming to us for tax. We don't do just bookkeeping jobs. We have to do the tax as well. So we'll say, okay, let's start with the tax returns. Let's take a look at that. Let's nail that down. So we know right from the beginning when we send them Tracy sends the link. She handles all of it. Don't touch any of it. Smart Vault link goes. They obviously have to set up an account, and can they upload? We look to see how quick can they do it. It's kind of a test when we onboard clients. Hey, again, boundaries, how we're doing it. You got to upload your tax returns to Smart Vault. Well, can I? You have to upload your returns to Smart Vault. That's the rule. Exception, what if they're local? What if they're like, can we just drop them off? Absolutely, you can drop them off. But you're not emailing them to me, and you're not texting me. People have done that. I don't know about you. So for us, that's how I have Tracy be the front runner on any of that. As far as Dext and things like that go, Nicole would help the client with that. But if you're in a volume situation, Marnie, and if you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 staff, you may want to delegate one person who's in charge of helping clients on board with the various tech stack that you're doing. That's what we do with Tracy. Again, we just have this really good cadence between Tracy and Nicole on making sure the clients understand how financial sense has been the easiest implementation. People have no problem with it. The portal, they can upload, they can do all the things they need to do. Everybody's happy. So I just have a point person that handles all of that. I understand I'm not going to train them how to do QuickBooks. I can tell you that. But for them to be able to take a picture of receipt, they should be able to do that because they take pictures of everything else. So, and that's a really good way to talk to your client. I tell them, I'm like, okay, so with Dext, you can take a picture, right? Let me see your phone. Give me your phone. And then I look in their photos. I'm like, okay, so you can take a picture of a receipt. That's my training, Marnie. Maybe I know I'm excessive, but listen, dude, you take pictures of your kid. You can handle this. So I did that to an electrician once, and he was like, oh man, you got me on that one, Brolin. I'm like, yes, I did. I'm good at that. So hopefully that helps for you there. Okay. So that was Marnie. Okay, Stephanie, great. Okay. How do you handle clients who continue to email you questions and documents rather than using Financial Sense, even though I've asked them repeatedly to use Financial Sense? So Stephanie, this has happened to us as well. This happens, right? And they're being persistent. I take and even though you say you're asking them to repeatedly do that, I get on a pretty serious call. I have this one guy, George. George has been really good at that. So he's like being good, like being bad. He's good at being bad. And I will get on a Zoom so I can see his face and he can see mine. And I tell him, and I've only had to do this 2 times to this guy. I said, George, you emailing me documents is doing 2 things. One, it's exposing you and your personal identifiable information over the internet. And I can't protect you from that. The second thing you're doing is you're putting me and all of my clients at risk. And I can't let that happen. So either I had his wife on the call too. I don't care. Like, bring your whole family. Where's your mother? Like, bring your mom on. Cause apparently I'm your mom. So I do take that bull by the horns, but I will tell you, we have fired clients for not complying with that boundary because it is too important. So there's certain boundaries that you set with your clients that have to be non-negotiables, just like a relationship. I married my husband. There were certain non-negotiables, right? It's the same thing. Your clients are the same way. Non-negotiables with the client, one of them is emailing documents. Absolutely not. Number one, you're emailing them to me. I can tell you, I don't care about my email, right? So my whole thing, the way I operate is nope, this is just not going to happen. You're not going to violate a boundary that I've set. And so we can't work together. And sometimes those are hard because they're good paying clients and you like them and they're fun to work with, but they're not listening. But you can't expose yourself and all your clients to having any of that stuff happen. So that's how I handle it. I'm pretty bossy about it. So if you need me to help you be bossy with that, I got you for sure. Okay, Antonio, when meeting with potential new clients, what boundaries do you set from the beginning, even for the initial meeting? Tire kickers, Antonio, I don't play with that at all. If I see someone in person, let's just say I'm out to dinner or something like that, and someone will approach, say, oh, hey, Brolin, haven't seen you in a while. Listen, we just started a new blah, blah, blah. We've been in business for like 10 months and we're doing really great. We're looking for an accountant. I say, that's awesome. Great. Number one, I'm not cheap. So if you're trying to find affordability, I'm not your girl. We pride ourselves on service. We pride ourselves on delivering what we say we're going to deliver. We're proactive and we don't want to work with 1,000 clients. We don't even want to work with 50. So we really set that boundary and I say, this is how you got to go. If someone calls, let's say a referral comes in, it could be from one of you, it could be from an existing client and they send the referral over. They're not talking to me, Antonio. They're not. It's not happening. Because here's what has happened in the past. If they talk to me and they're tire kicking, I've just wasted that time your question, like the tire kickers. I'm not interested. Tracy's been with me for 10 years, so that's helpful. Tracy is the one who handles all of that. And if somebody calls in, she talks to them. And if she thinks they can get through the door, because I got to get through her to get to me. So they can get through Tracy. Tracy likes them. They were able to upload their documents easily to SmartVault. She gives them our minimum base price for a simple 1040 is $500. Simple 1040. So if 500 is too much for you and you have a business, that's going to be like $1,250, $1,500 probably for you. Schedule C. We aren't even talking about doing bookkeeping. So the tire kicker stuff goes all through Tracy, and I'm very upfront with people when I see them in my local area. I know there's a bunch of accountants around here, and they're cheaper than me. So if you're looking for that, I'm not your girl. So I'm pretty upfront about that. I hope that helps. So in an initial meeting, Antonio, my point is I don't do initial meetings. Tracy does them. The only initial meetings I will do is a referral from Eric Green, or one of you. I will get on the call directly with the client if it's a friend of mine that's referred somebody over, especially for a tax matter. And so that's how that works. Okay, let me scroll down. Here's some more. Okay, so I answered you, Maria. Oh, so Aaron. So in the follow-up email, because they always do a follow-up email, I'll get them my Loom video and they can send that Loom video to you for the way I set up my tax season with my clients. And you'll get to see that. That's the one that I use. So that's no problem at all. We can get you that. All right. So I got to refresh here. Okay. Yep. We'll get you the video. Okay. Oh, let me go over to this section here. Our CRM is our bodyguard. I love that. Yep. Stell Anderson. I had a colleague ask to work with us and I straight up told him we're not cheap. And I do love that. And that really helps, right? Everybody does need a I call her mama. Cindy knows that. I call her mama. She's great. So setting those expectations. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions in here? Because I've got plenty of answers, I can tell you. Not that I know everything, you guys. I know I don't know everything, right? For me though, my whole thing is about setting those boundaries. So I'll give you some more boundaries. I don't see any more questions in here, but let me give you some more examples of boundaries. So I'm big time into calendar boundaries. Calendar boundaries are important to me. So when I know during tax season, when I work a little bit more than I do off season, during tax season, I have to block out time to do returns that have either been dropped off. That actually most of I don't think I meet with if I meet with a dozen people during tax season, that's a lot. So for the most part, I don't have to meet with people, but I still have to calendar block because I still do have other meetings that I have to do through tax season. So I want to make sure Tracy knows from, I'm not going to say 9 because during tax season, sometimes I come in at 9. I'm a 10 a.m. kind of girl. So I don't really like to come to the office before 10. It's just my preference, right? So when I come in, I may block off 10 to 1. I want to just get returns done. The first thing I do when I get in my office, a boundary. The first thing I do is I open up Financial Sense. Why? Because I need to know what I need to do for the day. And what is that? All the work that's tagged ready to start. Tax returns ready to start. And that is my saved view in Financial Sense during tax season. Right now, we're very focused on organizing our bookkeeping workflow. We're just tweaking it up a little bit right now. But during tax season, we want to have that 10. I do that 10 to 1. I just want to do my tax returns. That's what I save in my Financial Sense view during tax season, because that's what's important. That's a boundary. Most people come in, they check their email and they get lost in that thing for an hour. If you're doing that, the answers and what you need to do aren't in your email, they're in Financial Sense or in your CRM, which I'm assuming you're using Financial Sense because it's the best. So for me, my boundary is this is what I'm doing from 10 to 1. I may block off and say, I'm going to check my email for half an hour, maybe in the afternoon. Maybe I'm looking in my email because I'm trying to find something. I just do that in Financial Sense in the work. So that's how we do that. But the boundaries that we set are important. Like I tell people, okay, I will do a dozen or so tax appointments on usually not on Thursday. Well, football's over by tax season. So Thursdays, I normally would never have an appointment during football. Never. Monday, Thursday, of course, never on the weekends, but during tax season, I'll do Thursday night and I'll do Saturday. And that's my boundary. If they can't work within those dates, sometimes I'll make an exception. What's the rule? The rule is Thursday and Saturday. Saturday, 11 to 2. Like, I'm not doing 10 tax returns on a Saturday. What are we doing, folks? Right? So being able to set those boundaries are going to give you the ability to accomplish your work, which is obviously super important. Okay. All right, let me get back into it. That's a tip. So calendar blocking and stop looking at your email when you get in the office. That's you're losing productivity and time you could be getting stuff done. Because I want to get out of here. Like I don't want to be in this office all day. I want to golf when it's nice out. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so Heather, here we go. What about individual versus business clients? How do you treat those differently? Awesome. So business clients, we don't do the bookkeeping for all of our business clients. We have some great bookkeeping referrals that come into us and they do the bookkeeping and we love that they do the bookkeeping. So we have around 22, 23 bookkeeping clients that we do. The businesses are treated different in that they have to do tax planning. If they're S Corps, they have to do reasonable comp. So they have to be on a subscription. So the business clients have to be. The individuals do not have to be on a subscription. If they have a Schedule C, they do, because that's a business, right? So how we handle that is the individual tax clients, we send their engagement letters the first week of January. Everybody gets their engagement letters for tax. The individuals are going to pay me in January, between January and February. Usually the first 6 weeks of between January and February is when people are signing our engagement letters and paying us. And that money comes in and I love that. And that's great for me because now I know, I just can put that and invest it and do what I want with that money because my subscription pricing clients pay for my company. So the businesses on the subscription, they get an engagement letter. Let me be clear about that. They get a tax engagement letter, the business themselves and the individuals, because in our subscription, we will do their business return and their personal return as part of the subscription. It's all in one package. So the individuals on the business side, they're still getting an engagement letter. It's a $0 engagement letter. They're still getting the video. They're getting the video because they still have to follow rules with regards to getting us their tax documents and things like that. They're being treated the same when it comes to the engagement. They're just not getting charged because they're already paying in the subscription. Individuals are paying up front and off we go. And so that's how we treat them differently. And I'm really proud of us because we started this around We're going on our 4th year with subscription pricing. We started at 30,000. We went from 30,000 to around 38,000. Then this year we pushed over the 40,000 a month, by the way, a month. 40,000, and next year with our price increases it'll be 50,000 a month, be 600,000 a year for our 36 relationship pricing clients. That's where we're at, and that's how we treat them differently. What about Liz? Great, here we go. What about documenting boundaries in an added reference document to provide the clients that outlines the boundaries? How to make it not sound like a rigid rule book. Any advice? Yeah, so Liz, that's a great idea. That's actually a great idea. I've never done a rule book like that, but that's a fantastic idea. That way it's like, hey, listen, this is how we communicate. And I know people do that, and they'll send that as part of the engagement letter. An outline of how that works. I know I use Ignition for my engagement letters and my proposals. I would attach that to the follow-up email that Ignition, once they sign, they get a follow-up email. You could send that with it. Hey, also just want to introduce you to our rules, just to follow up on the video that was explained kind of how our rules work, which you can't explain every rule, Liz, right? So a document would be great. That's a great idea. I might steal that, Liz, stealing that from you. Okay, great. So that's a great one. All right, Marty. So here's a question. Exactly how do you communicate these boundaries to your clients? So we do it in the video. Yeah. So with the boundaries, Tracy's very upfront about the boundaries up front. This is how we operate. This is how we work. That's what's really good about having a person that's in charge of that, because that's their focus. Like, my focus isn't the boundaries. My focus is getting the work done. But I do need someone who could be in charge of the boundaries. And that's what Tracy does for me. And I would encourage everybody. To have a Tracy. Find yourself a part-time VA. I think that moms are great for that. Kids are off to school. You got somebody from, say, 10 to 3 or whatever, 9 to 12 that can handle client calls and follow up and asking for documents and chasing and babysitting, because we're still doing it. Like, we can't eliminate. It's never going to happen. We're still dealing with humans, folks, and we're going to deal with humans forever. Okay. AI isn't going to fix how lazy they are. AI isn't going to fix how they make this a priority or don't make this a priority. AI is not going to do that for them. Okay. So we still have to make sure that we're working on those areas. So we do. So Marnie, another piece is, because with our business clients, especially because we talk to them much more often, is like, hey, listen, just want to reiterate, like, don't email me stuff. Like, I know last week you sent me something by email. Like, you just got to stop doing that. Whatever it is in those conversations, it's always good to reiterate those boundaries. And like Liz said, you got a boundary sheet, some kind of a thing outlining, hey, going to send you that sheet again because you're violating some of these boundaries and I don't like it. Right. So communication, just like in a relationship, is everything. That's why I call it relationship pricing. I'm trying to build a relationship with my business owners to the point where we are in sync and we don't have fires. And there's things that we're doing for them that may not have even been in our scope, but it's stuff that we can do. Like a simple thing. I don't put in my scope that I'm going to help my client work with an attorney because they're going to buy a new business. I had this conversation yesterday with a client. He's like, I'm going to buy this particular company. I'm going to know more about numbers. Can we meet this weekend? Exception. Why? He's buying a multi-million-dollar company. I'll meet with you on a Saturday to talk about how we're going to do that. So boundaries. And then if you need to break them, that's a situation where I'll break a boundary. It's not going to be for somebody, I just want to chat with you for 15 minutes on Saturday. No, I'm not doing that. So just the reiteration of how you work and how you operate, and not accepting their bad behavior when they text you after hours. You're answering them. You are enabling. We got to not enable. We can't enable, right? So those are key. Okay, Leah. Hey, Leah. So Leah says, how do you work with a VA? This is a total different training and workflow than an in-person assistant. Okay. I will tell you, Tracy started with me 10 years ago. I can't believe it's her 10-year anniversary. I got a really beautiful bracelet. She's so happy. 10 years with her. I hired her. The day I hired, or it was the weekend after I hired her, she was moving to go to DC with her husband had to move for his job. So she's never been in my office ever. I've had assistants in my office Sorry if there's assistants out there that are on here. Sometimes they bother me too much. I like to work in my office by myself because I gotta focus, like ADHD, like I'm over there, like a squirrel, something just ran over there, right? So sometimes an administrative assistant in the office, I find she might ask me a question through Slack. We use Slack a lot. She'll ask me a question through Slack and I'm busy doing something. Finally, I look back over at Slack and she's like, oh, I figured it out. So sometimes having somebody that's remote 100%, yes, they're going to have to learn the systems. They're going to have to learn your technology. They're going to have to learn maybe the language that we speak as accountants. And what we did in the beginning was I was on the call because I was doing them anyway, and I would have Tracy get on the call with me, and she would just listen, just listening. She's listening to the calls that I would have. Um, I would teach her, hey, listen, I need you to call this client because I need you to get me a copy of X, Y, and Z. She's capable of taking that information and asking the question of the client. And then if they had a follow-up question she didn't know, she's like, you know what? I have to get back to you. And so in the beginning, training her and getting her on board, yeah, it's going to take an investment. But I can tell you something right now, it was the best hire I've ever made. I've hired great bookkeepers. I still believe she's no longer with us. She was the best bookkeeper I've ever seen. But Tracy was the best hire because she got me away from admin work and put me into actually doing work. And I'm the biggest biller, right? So I bill the most money in the firm. But I knew I had to invest my time and money to get her going. So Leah, it's such a great question, and it's so critical. Aaron, also, how do you trust a VA with your client's confidential info? That's why I have not hired anyone. This person happened to come from one of my existing staff, was her sister. So I feel like I got really lucky. Like I got the diamond in the rough. I already know that, folks. And I know people have always asked to borrow her. No one can borrow her. I love her. She's awesome. So I think there is a vetting process, Aaron. And yes, it's the keys to your kingdom, the keys to your castle, a really good employment agreement, monitoring, making sure that there's boundaries set where they don't use their own cell phone, right? They're not using their own cell phone. Give them a phone. We use Ring Central. Having a place where all codes, security code, we just implemented this, you guys. This is Charlotte. Amen, Charlotte. And Sharon Fuller, I'm giving Sharon Fuller full credit for this tip. In Slack, there's a thing. I don't know what the name of the thing is. It's a security code tool. It is called Clerk. I'm looking in my Slack right now. We just set it up Monday. So we all changed all of our security codes to go here. No more codes to the phones. So I figured that out for you. Well, Sharon figured that out for you. So implementing some tools and systems that will minimize the risk that this person is a bad actor, if you will. Having them go on vacation, you taking over for a week, having someone else step in, those kind of things. Normal fraud risk issues that we all should be aware of as business owners and owners of a lot of really important data. Yep, there's going to have to be a level of trust. You got to make sure you have insurance, make sure you have bonds on them, that you just make sure that we have enough insurance should something fall out, that we're protected. That's the best advice I can get. Like I said, I was lucky enough, the referral for Tracy came from someone I trusted already, because she'd already been with me for 3 or 4 years. So hopefully, Aaron, that helps. But I still find that Tracy is literally like critical for me. Yes, Clerk on Slack, Liz. Yes. So that was great. Clerk, it's called Clerk, just a Clerk, which is really great. Oh, so Liz, you got it now. Yeah, it's called Clerk. That was that again, see, that's where, like, there's no perfect firm. My firm isn't perfect, you guys. It's not. Is it a heck of a lot better than it was 4 years ago? Oh, yes. It's way better. But it's because I invest in the tools. People are like, Brolin, your tech stack must be crazy. My tech stack is what it is in order for me to protect myself, for us to be as productive as possible, as profitable as possible. Everyone can take vacations when they need to take vacations. All of those things that create a really great culture. Talk to your staff, ask them what that looks like for them. What are the things that's going to make them happy? And those are the things that we really focused on over the last 4 years, to try to standardize everything that we can possibly standardize and set boundaries and rules so we weren't just so crazy, right? So that's just something that I think about. So good times, good stuff. So let's see. I'm looking to see if there are any other questions in here that I need to ask. Liz, I love that suggestion of having that document. I think client expectations, some kind of client expectations document, because this is a really big thing too, is taking back control of your firm. And so that's a great way to say, hey, listen, we're really trying to get ourselves in a position where we can work without our hair on fire. We don't want to have surprises. I don't like surprises. Like we would do the tax season surprises where the people would owe 50, 60,000 and they're all angry at me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Well, now what we do is we work with them year round. It's required. Why? Because I don't want to get on a call during tax season and tell someone they owe 50 grand. It's horrible. So, part of the reason why we do that. All right, Mary, how can you avoid training someone and then after a few months they decide it's not for them? Has this happened to you? So, because I hired Tracy 10 years ago, she was the only VA I ever hired. Um, I just hired a second admin person who, a young lady that is very good friends with my daughter. I've spent a lot of time with her out in California. Just, just knowing and hearing, she's been friends with Emily for like 3 years. She was the perfect support person for Tracy. So Tracy isn't going to be with me forever. She's going to, she's going to want to work. I think she still will always, she says this, that she'll always work in some capacity for us. But at some point, she's not going to want to do tax season. She's not going to want to do that anymore. So I have to hire someone that I know can back her up. And so Mary, because I'm currently just hired someone to back Tracy up. It took me 3 years to find someone. And I really took my time because that position is so important to me. Can you avoid hiring someone and then after 3 months going away? I don't know how you prevent that other than give them some pretty good perks. So my staff, they have unlimited paid time off. I don't care when they take vacations or how many vacations they take as long as they're doing their job. I just want them to doing their job. When I know they're not doing their job? When they either go on vacation and I got to step in and a client calls me and I look at the books. That's one time. Or a situation where, she's going to take time off and I discover some things. So I know with Tracy, she's not going to be with me forever. So I hired Rox, but it took me 3 years to find her. But because I had Tracy already in place, I could take that kind of time. But for those of you who won't have one at all, you got to just be really careful. You got to be careful. You got to vet them. I really do believe in somebody that knows somebody. It's like, it's never what you know, it's who you know. And if you can find someone that that knows someone, at least there's some kind of a little bit of a vetting. Obviously, if you've got some people you don't trust so much, don't take their recommendations, right? I mean, you gotta always surround yourself with people you want to be like, right? So, there may be somebody out there that you've already surrounded yourself with that's looking for something part-time. And then benefits, unlimited time off. We do what's called a task card, TASC. I know that, so it's called task. Oh, I think I put that in the Q&A. TASC. TASC. Okay. So there's that. Oh, Kelly Parks. Yes, of course. On hiring a VA, there are people out there who have VAs that they hire out. So if you're looking for that kind of a thing, but Kelly Parks said you could use a service where applicable. Agreed. She had a marketing agency for her website, social, and blogs for a while. Eventually hired a part-time admin who does all this now. But having the company show me what I really wanted to have. It's a great point, Kelly, for sure. Well, Kelly, I mean, hello. It's like silly to even say that. She knows everything, I think. So, so we have a task card. They have life insurance up to the 50,000. I have disability on them. So if they get really sick, they're still going to get paid. Like I've set up for them to have success because of the way, not everything, Kelly. Well, I believe that, so don't ruin it for me. So setting them up for success with your firm and giving them these perks and other things that they'll want to stick around. And so that's really great. How do I keep them engaged while being remote, Michelle? It's a great question. So we are communicating on a daily basis through Slack primarily. We don't do necessarily the let's have like a Monday morning meeting kick off the week type of thing. I think that there are times when that's called for. Like we have a meeting on Friday, the team at 1 o'clock to go over some bookkeeping workflows that we've been tweaking and we're finalizing so we can finish that up on Friday. But I believe letting people do the things they need to do during the day and let them get their work done. If they need me, they're going to call, we're going to Slack each other and we do all day long when necessary. We'll jump on a call. We'll jump on a Zoom. Yesterday, Tracy and I were nailing down a couple of extra workflows and we jumped on a Zoom. I said, hey, let me just throw a Zoom link in Slack and let's just jump on a Zoom. I just want to show you what I'm doing. And so we are very regularly communicating. I think that that's been very, very helpful. Okay, so I think I only get another like few minutes. Georgia, I'm calm today, girl. You love my energy, girl. And I don't even drink coffee. Can you imagine if I drank coffee? I'd be flying through the ceiling over here, getting nothing done. So a task card, Miriam. Hi, Miriam. Oh, I love Miriam. She's great. Miriam, a task card. I was introduced to that by Kristen Keats. It's called a task card. I can introduce you to the guy, but basically it's like the ICRA. So I can give $2,000 for them to buy their glasses and go co-pays and do those kind of things. You can set your limit. I said, okay, well, 2,000 is as far as I'm going to go for each person. And they all use it and they love it. Like the new card comes out every year. So this year was our second year. So the new card came out and I had Tracy's water bottle and her hair pick from Scaling New Heights. And I'm like, hey, I found your Yeti and I found this and that, whatever. She goes, I don't care about those things. I need the new task card because she needed to get new glasses or whatever for the year. So, she don't care about her Yeti. She wants that task card. There it is. James got it. Nice. See, she's slacking me right now. I call her Mama. She's slacking me right now. So great. James, thank you so much. How you doing, James, for throwing that link in there? It's a great, and then you know what we do from there? I recommend my clients do that for their people. I do it for mine, and then you know what I do? I photocopy it, and I help my clients do it. That's just so makes sense for me. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, Deb. Hi, Deb. Oh, I love Deb Hall. I find as a solo owner, it's hard to know what to choose for tech stack. So many shiny objects in different industries require different tech. Yes, it is hard. I agree with you 100%. And I was a sole prop for a long time. And I think it's important for you we're going to do boundaries again, Deb. We're going to do some boundaries is to think about, I think I'm out of time too, which I don't want to be out of time. So Deb, just think about the things you may not want to be working with a whole bunch of different industries that need all this different technology. We're focused primarily on services. We have a couple of restaurants, but we're not doing retail stores. That's just not our thing. So when you're thinking about how you're running your business, what are the industries you want to serve? What are the technologies that you like to work with and expand on that and get more clients that are in that wheelhouse, if you will. So those ideal clients that work really well with the tech stack you have that you are already familiar with. So, and it's hard as a sole prop, it's hard. You can't delegate. I delegate a lot of stuff to Nicole. I'm like, this is your problem, not my problem. So it's a bookkeeping problem. So this is on you, kid. I'm always willing to help and find solutions because I love to do that. But I need her also to be like, yeah, this is not working for me. I need some help. Right Tool is a great example. I'm like, why aren't you using Right Tool? There's the stuff within Hector's tool that's going to help you save time. I had to push her into it. And now she's like, oh my goodness, I wish I had this years ago. But so those are just some examples, Deb. I hope that helps a little bit. I don't know if they're just going to kick me off or if I just keep going. I don't really know. But you guys, I want you all to be so successful. I want you all to set the boundaries so that you can be the best firm owner you can be and that you can be happy and that you can be not in the office 100% of your time. I worked yesterday for 6.5 hours. I was like, I'm exhausted. This is insane. Who works for 6.5 hours? Right? And yes, Yuri, boundaries are everything. So I hope that this has helped you guys. I care about you all. I really do. That's why I'm the designated motivator for accounting professionals, because I want you to live a similar life, at least in the firm that I'm living in right now, so that you can have a similar amazing personal life that I'm having right now and I'm enjoying. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I guess they'll just kick me off. Let's see.